guys, welcome. Come on in and sit. How are you guys doing? First off, I want to start by saying thank you so much for clicking on this video. I appreciate you. And yeah, episode 2, I guess. Well, as you can see by the title, I have 7 more goodies for you. Let me bust out my handy dandy iPad because you know I wrote all of these things down for you. And yeah, as always, my goal is that you can take something from this video, or at least maybe, even if not, I hope that it's at least nice to hear, nice to learn about. And yeah, I'll jump right in. So today I will be telling you guys 7 things that'll help you get closer to your highest self. And I say this from experience. These are all things that I've done and I've worked on over the last 3 years that have really helped me solidify who I am and get real comfy. 1, really comfortable with who I am, and 2, comfortable with changing and growing and just developing overall. So, number 1. The first thing that I have that I think may help you get closer to your highest self is to try new things. Oh my goodness, like explore, make drastic changes, fail and try again. And you know, it can start off small, like you usually take a specific route when you go to school or to work. Maybe the next time, take a different route. Who knows who you'll run into? Who knows who you'll see? Who knows what you'll see in terms of your environment? Like, there's been many times where even on campus, like I would be like, I've never walked down this street before. How come? I get home down this way too. And it just adds little small excitements into your day of like, oh, I've never seen this building before. Oh, I've only ever seen this street at night. That's what it looks like throughout the day. And like these small things, they'll eventually grow into bigger things because you won't be so used to just doing the same thing all the time. You know, you'll get used and you'll get comfortable with there being slight changes, and you'll learn how to adjust to those new changes, and then they'll learn how to adjust to those small changes will eventually grow into big changes that may happen, and you'll be able to roll with the punches because this ain't nothing new for you, baby. You've been doing this. You're real comfortable doing this. The second thing that I have for you guys is to do things just because it feels good to. Oftentimes, at least for me, oftentimes it feels like I have to justify doing things or giving things to myself. I have to justify wanting to dress up. I have to justify wanting to get cute, or I have to justify, oh, I have this really nice pair of shoes. Oh, but I'm not doing anything. Why wear them? Or this really nice dress, or this really nice top, or these pretty earrings. Like, for example, with me, I don't care where I'm going, but if I want to wear my big butterfly chain, I'm gonna wear it. If I want to wear, well, I don't have very dramatic earrings on today, but if I want to wear some long dangly earrings, even though I'm wearing a regular outfit, I will do it. Ain't no shame in my game because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel nice. And then every time I look at them, I'm like, my earrings, you know? And I feel like it's definitely have gotten and has helped me get closer to my highest self, because I feel like the highest version of me doesn't hold back. The highest version of me isn't scared to try new things or isn't scared to do things because they simply enjoy them, especially if they aren't hurting anybody. Me wearing my dangly earrings, is that gonna make somebody mad? Is that gonna do something to somebody? No, so why not do it? I don't know and it also ties into, because you know, with shoes or clothes or even other things, if we're always saving those things for a special occasion, eventually you have to ask yourself, when will this special occasion be? Eventually nothing will feel special enough to wear those things or to do those things, because it feels like you're constantly waiting for this big, oh my goodness, I can do it now, I can wear it today, this is the day, today's this occasion and X amount of people are going to see me. At the end of the day, you should wear it because, or you should do or wear it because you feel good, not because the occasion calls for it. And don't get me wrong, they're like, obviously you wouldn't wear a wedding dress if you're not having your wedding. You know, I'm not saying like those type of things. I'm saying like those smaller things. That pair of shoes that's just been sitting in the closet for a couple of years. I'm like, I never had time to bust those heels out. Baby, bust them out because you want to. And yeah, and if you wake up every day and you try something new, it could be something small, then eventually those small excitements will add up. You're starting to romanticize your life, you'll notice. Oh, I wore this outfit because it made me feel good, and all of a sudden that sets the stage for the rest of your day. And if you do that every day, eventually you'll look up and you'll realize every day is a special occasion. At least, I don't know, at least for me, that's something that I've noticed as I've practiced these things. Like every day I wake up and I'm excited to tackle the world. I'm like, okay, what's in store for me today, God? What you got for me today? What we finna do? Okay, the third thing that I have for you guys is to be okay with letting go. Recognize that just because you love something, it doesn't mean that it's meant to be held on to forever. If you love something, set it free. I know we hear this all the time, but I've learned to let things go before the positive memories start to sour and you find yourself constantly chasing after what was instead of looking towards the future of what could be. Like, especially like with friendships, you know, you'll have this time period where you're really close to this person and it's like, oh my God, I want to hold on to this forever. But then you realize that as time changes, you guys are growing differently. You know, you guys are interested in different things. There's different things that you guys want out of life. And in the process of trying to hold on to that friendship that was so good, you're not giving each other the space to grow into who you are individually. And then eventually you'll see that, like, after holding on for so long, even though you're growing apart, you realize that you guys are starting to resent each other. You guys are starting to not want to be around each other. It went from, oh my God, I love this person so much, to I'm okay if I never see that person again. And I think we should get comfortable with letting go of things before it gets to that point. And I kind of had to learn this the hard way. As you guys may know, especially if you watched my first video, I was in a group home before I went to college, and that year and a half that I was in that group home, it was some of the best times of my life because I made so many genuine connections. And it was one of the first times that I was surrounded by so many people who just poured into me and who genuinely liked me and wanted to be around me. It's like they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and being around them, I learned to kind of view myself the same way. So when I went into college, it was a pretty hard transition because I went from being surrounded by all these people who just think so highly of me to me being in this new place and trying to figure out who I am here, you know? And it got to a point where I was trying to hold on so much to that year and a half that it soured the current moment that I was in. I was a little depressed my first semester of college because I was like, oh my God, like I miss this person, I miss that person. And though it didn't sour those friendships specifically, I had to be okay. I had to learn to be okay with letting that time of my life go so that I could fully settle into where I was now. If I was constantly looking to the past of like, oh my God, like that was the first time that I ever felt so good, then I would have never been able to find this, oh my God, I feel so good now, if that makes sense, you know? Okay. The fourth thing that I have is to become comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that uncomfortability, that space will cause the most change and the most growth. And I mean this in all aspects of life, in relationships, friendships, school, work, etc. If you do those things that you're putting off, for example, with me, I've always been a people pleaser. So I've always had to compromise and adapt to other people. And I got really comfortable doing that. Like it was comfortable to just go with the flow or to just do whatever someone else wanted. But in the process of me doing that, I was forgetting who I was. Like I never gave myself the space to be like, okay, what do I want to do? What do I like? How do I prefer things? You know, because I was just like, because when you're used to living with other people, you kind of have to do that. Like I grew up never really having a say in what happened. it was always me trying to get in where I fit in, and just, molding myself to fit in the spaces that, like, for example, I was staying at a friend's house. I had to mold myself to be whoever was most accepted in that space instead of, who I wholeheartedly was. And it's sad because that's not even to say that if I was who I wholeheartedly was, I probably still would fit in those situations just as well. But it was just that pressure to be as likable and as lovable as possible that, made me lose sight of who I was. And so one thing I've learned to do in my friendships and relationships is to just speak my mind more. Oh, I see that you like to do that, but I think I would like to do this. And I've also learned that that's okay, because I'm not the type of person who has to do things with other people. If I'm with someone and they don't want to do something I want to do, I'm totally okay with doing it by myself. Honestly, I might even prefer it a little bit, because then I won't have to worry the whole time about if that person I'm doing it with wants to do it. I had to learn to be okay with speaking my mind. And for example, with accountability, like, if I made a mistake, it used to just drive me up a wall. But I know that I'm a person of integrity, so it's important for me to admit when I've made a mistake. And that was something that used to be really hard for me, because like I felt this pressure to be perfect, and telling someone that or taking accountability for that made me really uncomfortable. But I had to learn to be comfortable with that, because I know who I am. And if I want to be this person, then I'm gonna have to stand on business, even if it doesn't feel the best. And I think that could be applied with everything. I misread this question and I answered it wrong. And, being accountable for that, talking to the teacher about that. With work, oh, I thought you said to do this, but I did this instead. I'm really sorry. I'll try and fix it. Just being comfortable with those things will definitely get you closer to the highest version of yourself, because you're gonna be a person of integrity. You're gonna do all the things that you want to do. You're going to be a representation of who you want to be. When you picture your dream self, do you picture someone who is afraid of admitting when they're wrong, who shies away from confrontation, who is okay with doing things that they don't want to do just because it pleases the next person? No, the highest version of you stands on business. She's honest, or he. They're honest. They're caring, and they're accountable for their actions. 5, be intentional about being you. I think this ties into the last one, because what I mean is, like, when you picture the highest version of yourself, what do they have? What do they do? How do they act? How do they carry themselves? And when I want you to really think about those things, and then I want you to then ask, okay, what actions would that person do to get there? For example, me. When I picture the highest version of myself, I picture someone who is confident, who is caring, who is kind, who is beautiful inside and out, who is non-judgmental, who learns with earnest. And in order for me to be those things, I have to put in the small steps now to do those things. So I wake up every day and I ask myself, how can I be better today than I was yesterday? And that's not to say that progress is this linear slope where you're constantly going up. No, some days, it's a little two. And that's okay, because it's all a part of the process. And I feel like the important thing there is to be intentional with what you're doing. Okay, I want to eat healthier. So, yesterday I kind of had too many snacks, or I ate too much junk food, or ate things that didn't have a lot of nutritional value. Okay, today even if I don't, wake up and I'm completely plant-based, I'll at least try to incorporate a salad, or I'll incorporate some vegetables into this meal, or maybe I'll just have a smoothie for breakfast and pack it with vegetables and fruit and supplements, lots of good stuff. Or I'll buy these vitamins or these dietary supplements that I think will help me out. Or even with like taking care of your appearance, I'm very intentional with how I do my hair. Okay, for this hairstyle, I'm like, okay, it's winter time. There was this idea of winter art going around, and though I feel like it could be a little toxic, the constant like glow up and constant pressure to be perfect, But I was like, okay, I'll do the blue and the white because it'll signify the winter, this new space that I'm in and this new era that I'm in. And the same thing with my previous hairstyle. If you guys have seen, I did like orange and just a lot of fall colors. It was given fall. I tried to put intention behind certain things with the setup, with, you know, how I portray myself on social media. I try to be intentional about how I portray myself to the world so that I can kind of shape how people perceive me. Though I don't have 100% control over that, people will take me for what I am. They'll have their own thoughts, whatever, however the case may be, but I can control certain things and I'm intentional about those things that I can't control. And 6, limit compromising you for others. I feel like this also ties into the other things, but don't be so quick to change or give up on what you want to do and your future goals just because they might not align with someone else. If you want a specific job or if you want a specific career, go do it, because at the end of the day, no one has to live your life but you. So if you're constantly changing and changing and changing for someone else, and then you look up and you're nowhere near where you wanted to be, you're going to start to resent that person, 1, and 2, you're going to resent yourself because you wasted all this time putting all this energy into something that you didn't even want in the first place, just to look up years later down the line and realize you still want the same thing. You still want that thing, but now all that time you put into compromising that could have went into you doing what you truly wanted to do has just been wasted. Because yeah, maybe you were making other people happy, but at the end of the day, they're more focused on themselves than they are on you anyway. And I learned that the hard way. Especially like in high school, because I'm sitting up here changing who I am to fit into these spaces, even though me looking back now, I'm probably never going to be in them spaces again and never will be and don't want to be. And the 7th thing that I have is to put yourself before everyone else. I said it. I know it sounds so selfish. I know. Even with me, it took a long time to get comfortable with it, but we have to realize that everyone is doing that. Unless someone is super family oriented, which is awesome. I think that is a very valuable trait, but you also have to recognize that until you yourself are 100%, you will never be able to give the people around you what needs to be given. And I remember I felt really bad for this, and I had a lot of guilt because I have a lot of siblings, and you know, we grew up in the same area, and where I am now is completely different from where my siblings are. And I took a lot of guilt from that, but then I had to sit and ask myself, I'm like, if I stayed in the same situation, we'd all just be in the same situation together. All of us would be jacked up, you know? So instead of being jacked up and staying in that situation because I feel bad or because I don't want to be selfish or because I don't want to leave these people, how about I take this time I need to get myself together, get my bag up, do this, do that. And then once I'm at a point where I'm fully taken care of and I'm fully established, then I'll have enough to pour into other people's cup and try to uplift other people and try to bring them with me. And it sounds really selfish at first, but I promise you, you'll be happy you did it at the end of the day. And yes, I hope you guys are able to take something from this. Thank you again for watching. I hope that you're having an amazing day.